Everyone in the courtroom assumed she didn't belong there. A quiet woman in simple clothes, clutching a folder that looked far too thin for such a serious case. People whispered, some smirked, and even the judge raised an eyebrow when he saw her approach the defendant's table alone. No lawyer, no team, just her. "Ma'am," the judge said, adjusting his glasses with a hint of condescension. "Are you sure you want to represent yourself? This isn't a traffic ticket. This is a real case." The entire room chuckled under their breath, but the woman simply nodded, her voice calm and steady. "Yes, Your Honor, I am fully prepared." The judge sighed dramatically, as if he already knew how this was going to end. The opposing attorney, a confident man in an expensive suit, grinned while shuffling his stack of documents that towered over her thin folder. "Very well," the judge said. "We'll proceed." He didn't hide the amusement in his tone, but as soon as the opening statements began, something shifted. The quiet woman listened with sharp focus, jotting notes faster than anyone expected. When it was her turn, she stood with a posture so composed it made even the bailiff glance at her twice. Her first sentence was delivered with clarity and precision, revealing an unexpected command of legal terminology. The courtroom, still settling into their seats, went silent. Then she began to dismantle the opposing attorney's argument, not with emotion or guesswork, but with exact references to case law, precedents, and procedural violations that even seasoned lawyers sometimes missed. The attorney froze. The judge leaned forward slowly. "Excuse me," he said, interrupting her. "How exactly do you know the statute?" She looked up, expression unreadable. "It's relevant to the evidence they submitted, Your Honor." The judge blinked. "Did you study law?" She didn't answer the question. Instead, she continued, pointing out inconsistencies in the opposition's timeline. Her tone stayed soft, polite, almost gentle, but every sentence landed like a hammer. The opposing attorney shuffled his papers, sweating. The judge cleared his throat, now watching her with genuine curiosity rather than annoyance. Witness after witness took the stand, and each time she questioned them with quiet precision. Her questions were simple, but the answers she drew out were devastating. The murmurs in the courtroom grew louder with every passing minute. Who was she? Why did she know so much? Even the judge, who had mocked her confidence earlier, started taking notes. The turning point came when she requested a specific document, one the opposing side had insisted didn't exist. Her hands didn't shake as she presented her evidence, a single sheet of paper she had found through her own research. The judge stared at it for a long moment, eyebrows rising higher and higher. "Where did you get this?" he finally asked. She looked him directly in the eye. "Where everyone else could have found it, Your Honor, if they cared enough to look." A stunned silence filled the courtroom. Now the judge wasn't mocking her. He wasn't amused. He was rattled, deeply rattled, and so was everyone else. And then, just as the opposing attorney attempted to regain control, she turned a page in her folder and revealed something no one in the room had been prepared for. She flipped the page, and the air in the courtroom tightened, as if the walls themselves leaned forward to listen. The document she revealed looked old, stamped, and strangely familiar. The judge's eyes widened the moment he saw the header. It was a transcript. Not just any transcript. It was from a case the opposing attorney had personally handled years ago. A case he had won. A case that had mysteriously vanished from public record. The attorney's face drained of color. "Your Honor, this is irrelevant." The woman lifted one hand calmly. "It's extremely relevant. This transcript proves a pattern of misconduct. The same tactics being used against me today were used in this case. And the same evidence you claimed was lost is referenced right here." The judge's jaw tightened. "Is this legitimate?" "Yes, Your Honor," she replied. "I obtained it directly from the district archive. You'll notice it includes your signature as well." The room erupted. Several spectators gasped. Even the bailiff turned his head sharply toward the judge. The judge stared at the paper as if it had crawled out of a buried coffin. The opposing attorney stepped forward, desperate. "Your Honor, she cannot use that. That case was sealed." Her eyes met his, calm and steady. "It was sealed after the ruling, not before." which means a transcript was still a matter of public record at the time I obtained it. The judge swallowed hard. She was right. No one had noticed that loophole. No one except her. The judge rubbed his forehead, visibly shaken. For the first time since the trial began, he looked nervous. Ms. Carter, I must ask again, where exactly did you learn to analyze cases like this? She closed the folder. When you find yourself alone, Your Honor, you learn to fight with knowledge. The attorney stammered. This is absurd. She's manipulating. She spoke before he could finish. Then explain why your signature matches the altered document you submitted today. The courtroom froze. The judge turned sharply. Altered document? Is that true? She opened her thin folder again, revealing two versions of the same document. One the attorney had submitted, and one she had retrieved from a court archive hours earlier. The differences were unmistakable. The room erupted into whispers. A reporter in the back nearly tripped over a bench trying to get his camera ready. The judge's voice boomed. Mr. Holloway, you will explain these discrepancies immediately. But the attorney had no explanation. His lips moved, but no sound came out. The judge turned back to the woman, his tone shifting from condescension to something almost respectful. Ms. Carter, please proceed. She nodded once, softly. Thank you, Your Honor. Then she walked toward the projector, connected a small USB drive, and loaded something onto the screen. A video file popped up. Grainy footage. Time-stamped. Official. The opposing attorney froze when he saw what it was. The judge leaned forward in disbelief. Is that surveillance footage? The woman spoke quietly, but her voice carried through the silent room. This was recorded in the evidence room the night before your clerk claimed the file went missing. The attorney took a step back, hands trembling, and then she pressed play. The screen flickered as the grainy footage began to play. The courtroom held its breath. The angle was from a corner security camera, giving a clear view of the evidence room door. The timestamp blinked in the corner. 11:42 p.m., the night before the file mysteriously vanished. A man entered the frame. His posture was unmistakable. The opposing attorney's suit, his briefcase, his watch, his face. The entire courtroom gasped. He moved quickly, glancing over his shoulder, then kneeling by a locked cabinet. On the footage, he typed in a code, opened the drawer, and pulled out a stack of documents. He sifted through them, selected one, and slid it into his briefcase. The silence in the courtroom turned suffocating. The attorney shouted, voice cracking. This is doctored. She edited. She manipulated. The judge slammed the gavel, so hard the sound shook the room. Enough. Sit down, Mr. Holloway. But the attorney didn't sit. He seemed trapped between running and fainting. The judge turned to the woman again. Ms. Carter, how did you obtain this footage? This camera was reported disabled. She nodded calmly. Yes, Your Honor. But the internal archive system creates automatic backups every midnight. The system was upgraded last year, and the new administrator is a friend. The judge blinked, stunned that she had outmaneuvered the system from the inside. By now, reporters were typing furiously. Spectators whispered her name like it had become legend. Even the bailiff looked impressed. The judge leaned forward. Continue. She stepped closer to the projector and paused the footage at the moment the attorney's hand reached into the drawer. Your Honor, she said, this isn't just evidence tampering. This was done to hide the existence of the document I presented earlier, a document that would have exposed misconduct, conduct this attorney has repeated for years. The attorney snapped, voice shaking. I demand a recess. No, the judge said firmly. You will answer these allegations. The woman's voice softened, but her words pierced the room like a scalpel. This is what I've been trying to show. I wasn't fighting for myself, Your Honor. I was fighting to reveal the truth about how many people have been silenced, just like I was supposed to be today. Her eyes held steady, not angry, just determined. The judge swallowed, clearly wrestling with the magnitude of what was unfolding in front of him. Then the woman reached into her bag one last time. I'm not finished, she said quietly. There's something else the court needs to see. She placed a small envelope on the evidence desk. Inside it was something that made the judge tense visibly, as if he already feared what she might reveal next. But she didn't open it yet. Instead, she looked at the judge and said, "Your Honor, before I continue, I need your assurance that what I'm about to present will be entered into the record without destruction or delay. I will not allow this evidence to disappear like the others." The judge straightened, fully alert. "Ms. Carter, you have my word." A slow, steady breath escaped her lips. Then she reached for the envelope. Her fingers slid under the flap of the envelope. The entire courtroom leaned forward at once, as if pulled by a string. She lifted out a single folded sheet, old, creased, and marked with an official seal. The opposing attorney's face drained the color. He knew what it was before she even spoke. "This," she said, unfolding it carefully, "is the whistleblower statement filed 3 years ago by someone who worked directly under Mr. Holloway, someone who tried to expose his misconduct long before I ever stepped into this courtroom." The judge stiffened. "This statement was reported missing." "Yes," she replied softly, "because he made it disappear." She placed the paper flat on the evidence table. The bold signature at the bottom made several people gasp again. It was from one of the city's most respected former clerks, a man who had vanished from the legal world without explanation. The judge looked from the document to the attorney, his expression darkening. "Mr. Holloway, do you deny involvement in the disappearance of this statement?" The attorney opened his mouth, but no sound came. His knees seemed to buckle beneath him. Eventually, he managed to whisper, I want a lawyer." The irony stung the room like cold wind. The judge straightened, voice booming with authority no one dared challenge. "Bailiff, take Mr. Holloway into custody for immediate questioning and hold him pending charges of evidence tampering, obstruction of justice, and professional misconduct." The spectators erupted, murmurs, shock, disbelief. Cameras flashed. Reporters scrambled. As the disgraced attorney was handcuffed and escorted out, he avoided the woman's eyes, unable to face the person he had tried to humiliate, and who ended up exposing everything. When the room settled, the judge turned toward her, but for the first time, his voice carried respect. "Ms. Carter, your perseverance just uncovered a years-long pattern of corruption. This court owes you more gratitude than I can express." She bowed her head slightly. "I wasn't looking for gratitude, Your Honor. I only wanted the truth." The judge sighed, heavy, humbled. "Your case is dismissed with prejudice, and an investigation into the entire department will begin immediately." Gasps filled the room again, but she didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She simply gathered her envelope, her papers, and her dignity. As she exited the courtroom, people stepped aside for her, the same people who had mocked her, dismissed her, and underestimated her just hours before. Outside, the sunlight hit her face, warm and soft. Reporters rushed toward her, microphones raised, shouting her name, begging for a statement. She paused only once. "Justice," she said quietly, "isn't loud, but it is unstoppable when someone refuses to stay silent." Then she walked away, calm, composed, and victorious, leaving behind a courtroom forever changed by the woman no one believed in.